Imagine this world without USA sanctions. Imagine this world without USA dollar. What happened to the USA when their sanctions don't work anymore around the world? Guys, in order for us to give the answer to this question, we first need to understand what kind of roles does this USA sanctions plays in around the world, and to whom does it benefit? Because if you don't have a clear picture of whom these sanctions does benefit, then we won't be able to provide you with the right answer that you deserve to know. Now, the world without USA sanctions, how will it look like? And how is it going to impact the USA foreign politics? As you all know, for decades, that USA, they are good with sanctions. They get to impose their sanctions by force. When you do something wrong or not, they get to tell you on how to do things. They have their allies, whether it is through NATO, whether it is through Europe unions, whether it is through their allies such as France, Belgium, British, name them as you wish. They work together with these countries in order for them to impose their sanctions on different countries around the world. And before I come live through these videos, I had to read certain kind of reports concerning the countries which have the most highest number of sanctions in the world. And trust me if I tell you that the USA, they are number one with more than 6,000 sanctions that they have imposed to different nations around the world. And it is under Joe Biden administrations where we get to see a high level of sanctions, followed by other countries such as France, so on, British, Belgium. Of course, as I said, these are their allies. They work together, they communicate together. But why do they like to impose sanctions on other countries? That is a very capital question which deserve an answer or a better explanation. Well, we're living in the world where each and every nation, where each and every leader, they want to prove their point. They want to show how strong they are. They want to show their leadership. And in order for them to reign or to rule over other nations, they need to have something in their possession, something that they can use it toward these other nations. Something they know that with these ones, it's going to make one nation stuck and they will have to comply to our decisions. And in the case of the USA, they don't have gold, they don't have diamond, they don't have petrol, they don't have any kind of mineral resource. But they need these things. In order for them to run their economy, the US need all these minerals. In order for them to invade any kind of things that we've been seeing around the world, they need all these natural resources. But how can them have them without working for it or without having it under their soil? Of course, they have to have them by imposing their leadership around the world to those countries who are in possession of these minerals. Now, the easy way for them to impose their leadership is by them coming with sanctions, whereby they will tell you to do something. Once you try to disobey them, that is when they will come up with sanctions and they will start imposing it on you. That is how the USA politics works. Let me explain more. For an example, these people, they will come to you, they will preach you the good news of democracy. They will tell you on how you should respect human rights. They will tell you on how to do things around. All just because they want you to do things in the way they wishes. And if you ever try to disobey them, If you ever try to do things differently according to what they're expecting you to do, that is when you become their enemy number one. Here's a very easy example I can give. Let us look at what happened in 2022 in the Republic of Uganda with President Yoweri Museveni. Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who had motivated his members of the parliament to go in order for them to vote a bill which has to forbid the gay and lesbian marriage. But just because these people, they've been trying to find a way out in order for them to stand on his way or in the democracy of the people of Ukraine. I mean, people of Uganda. You know what they did? They have to start threatening up Yoweri Museveni, telling him that if you ever try to sign for this bill to go through, we are going to put sanctions on you. But what kind of sanctions were they going to put against Uganda? Of course, they mentioned MasterCard. Why did they mention MasterCard? Because in the world of today, you can't trade with another nations or other countries without MasterCard. Because it is through MasterCard that's where you'll be able to buy merchandise from one nation to another nation. It is with US dollar you'll be able to trade among you and other nations. Okay? Now, they did not only stop there. They know very well that if that does not work, since they know that now they're having their rival, which is the BRICS, with countries such as China and Russia and South Africa, who are more determined to come up with their own new currency that can allow them to trade with other countries around the world. Well, they came with their plan B. What was their plan B? Of course, their plan B was for them to use to put sanctions on Uganda when it comes to Google. And we all know that if you don't have Google, it's like you are being punished. You are being punished from you not knowing what is happening out there around the world. Because in the world of today, you need to have internet. With internet will allow you to be connected with other people out there. Now, in their case, they want to impose all those kind of sanctions because they know very well that no, sooner or later, Uganda will have to give to that one. Now, guys, they did everything as they planned. But Uganda government, they did not bow to that. Until today, as we're talking right now, those sanctions, they are standing on Uganda. Uganda, they are going through a lot. Why? Because the USA decided to put sanctions on them. All right. Is it only Uganda? No. We have countries such as Zimbabwe. All just because Robert Mugabe did what he's supposed to do. Well, just because they could not be able to control the man Robert Mugabe, what happened next? Zimbabwe was put under sanctions. And once Zimbabwe was put under sanctions, it was an easy way for them to impose their leadership on Zimbabwe. We have countries such as the DR Congo, where they have a close blind eye on whatsoever is happening over there. But instead, they are choosing to put their sanctions on individuals and the government who had nothing to do with whatsoever has been happening in that part of Africa. Now, these sanctions is something that they've been doing it for many years. We have countries such as Iraq. We have such countries such as Afghanistan, especially in Asia continent. The USA, they have put a lot of sanctions in almost countries which is there beside Israel. But most of the countries which are there, I look even through the map, it is all red. They put a lot of sanctions over there. Why? Because they are targeting the petrol, which is in the Middle East. And they know that with this petrol, they will be able to do a lot of things with it. So If you refuse to give them this petrol, they'll have to find something that they can use against you in order for them to have easy access to this petrol. Now, these sanctions, beside them putting it in the countries in Asia, they went and put it on Russia, forgetting that Russia, it's just kind of like an influencer country out there, which have a lot of many countries which are looking forward to see what actions or reactions that Russia can take in the world politics. Now, when they put all these sanctions, for them, they were just okay with it because they have done this before. They put sanctions with different countries and it works for them. The more these sanctions work for them, the more money they keep on making. Guys, if you are joining us and you have not liked this video, please give us your thumbs up. We really do appreciate. Like this video. We want many people to come and have to listen to what we are discussing here today. So please, we really do appreciate you doing that. Back to what I was saying. They put these sanctions to many countries before. It works for them. They always go free with everything that they have to put to other people. In the Africa continent, they know that Africa have everything that they need in order for them to be on top of the mountain, or in order for them to continue trending the way they've been trending all these years. And that's the reason why every small mistake you make as an African leader, the first things the USA will do is to put sanctions on you. Whether you are a president, whether you are a deputy president, whether you are the minister, for the USA, they never care. As long as you are a black or you are living in Africa continent, sanctions, it is right on top of you. But God never sleep. God never sleep because the world have come to the point of understanding that no, we can't continue living like this. The leaders of the world, they've come to understand that no, we have let these people mislead us for so many years. We have let these people take advantage of us for too long. So enough, it is enough. Now, what did this world leaders start doing? Well, first of all, they start doing a campaign of denouncing each and every kind of sanctions which is being imposed on them unlawful and unfair. They make sure that whenever they receive sanctions, they come forward and they expose it. That look, we're being sanctioned because we say no to this. We're being sanctioned because we did this. Now, once they expose these kind of sanctions to everyone out there, of course, it will be now up to people of the world who have to sit down and tell whether these sanctions are fair enough for this certain country or this certain kind of a politician to be put in embargoes or not. Now, when people are looking at all these things, they end up realizing that no, there's a lot of sanctions which the USA with its allies, they've been actually imposing it on Africans and other countries around the world, which does not make sense. And people end up understanding that there are certain sanctions, certain countries or leaders around the world which deserve to be having this kind of sanctions, yet they are untouchable. They can do whatsoever they want to do. They can commit crime, they can violate human rights, they can do, call it as you wish. And these people, they are untouchable. No one say anything bad about them. Even if you have to launch or other nations have to vote in favor in order for them to launch an arrest warrant against these leaders, you will see that they still remain untouchable. Why? Because they're having their so-called big brother, which is the USA, the king of sanctions, the one who have the last word to say in order for a sanctions to take place on your head or on your country. So this kind of behaviors, it is what it had woken up the entire world, and everyone, they have come to understand that we can't continue with this kind of nonsense. We can't continue with this kind of behaviors whereby they have to always tell us on how to do things around. They have to be bossing us by some people. All they do, they keep on doing all this because of their own benefits. That is when you see now countries such as Russia and many more countries out there. I can mention some of them like Cuba, Venezuela, Zimbabwe. There are so many of countries around the world who have come to say that we don't care anymore. Give us your sanctions or not, we are not there. And these countries, they're like, in order for us to preach a very good gospel to the entire world, in order for them to start joining us through this journey, we just need to make sure that we survive on our own. We find a new alternative that we can commit to, some kind of partners that we can start trade with, some people who have nothing to do with the Western. The longer we'll survive against these sanctions, it is the easy way we'll defeat these countries that are busy putting sanctions on us. And that's what they did. You guys heard me mentioning the sanctions which Zimbabweans they've been going through. Now the question is, for how many years? For how long these sanctions it has been imposed on Zimbabweans? Robert Mugabe did not die today. Whatever Robert Mugabe have done to these people that made them believe that they have to put Zimbabwe under embargoes, it is not something which was done today. We are talking about more than 10 decades ago. And these sanctions, they leave it there. Yes, at first, it had a big impact on Zimbabwean economy. It had a big impact on Zimbabweans' politics activities, on Zimbabwean monetaries. We also how in Zimbabwe you'll find someone physically looking very poor, but yet they will tell you on how much billions of Zimbabwean dollar they're having in their house or in their savings. Right? Why? Because these sanctions, it had made Zimbabwe a currency lost its value to the eyes of the world. Imagine Zimbabwe even reached the point of start using South Africa rand. Why? Because the monetary of Zimbabwe, it had lost that value, all because of these sanctions. It made Zimbabwean shift from their country to their neighboring countries such as South Africa. Why? Because of these sanctions. It made Zimbabwe become one of the top corruption country in Africa. Why? Because of these sanctions. Because the money is not circulating. Therefore, whoever is in the possession of stealing, you have to steal as much as you can. That's why you see a lot of politicians in Zimbabweans, they are so rich because you can steal as much you want. Even pastors, they were also in the same box, doing the same business. Why? Because of these sanctions. But when Zimbabwean finally understand that actually we can survive, we can fight this, we can stand up and raise up our currency and give it that value that it deserves. Once they understand that, what did them do? They first, isn't it, they first start fixing the problem of their money, where they have to come up with a new currency, which until now, unless if you prove me wrong, according to the last report I had in my possession, this currency, it was challenging the US dollar. Once this currency is challenging the US dollar, you know what does that mean? You know the message behind that? It's simply to say that the sanctions of the USA in Zimbabwe or on Zimbabwe, it does not have a work anymore. It does not have impact anymore. It's just that, it's just like if you are beating a child, you ask them to lay down, you tie their hands maybe, or you ask someone to hold both their hands and legs, and then you start beating them. As you are beating them, of course, at the beginning, they'll cry. But if you keep on beating them, and continue beating them, the child won't cry anymore. Why? Because they've endured enough. Because they've conceived enough pain. So the rest, you'll be the one who will have to get tired because they're no longer feeling that pain anymore. They are strong enough. And that's what happened in the case of Zimbabwe with the US sanctions. I remember myself during the time of our former president Jacob Zuma. Let's start even with Thabo Mbeki, Jacob Zuma, Ramaphosa. I've heard him a couple of times calling for the USA to relieve the sanctions against Zimbabwe. Did them hear him? No. What about in the United Nations? United Nations, I had a couple of African leaders, including President Tshisekedi from DR Congo, calling for these sanctions to be removed on Zimbabwe. Did them hear him? No. Again, there, you will just tell that this is a way of how these people see African leaders. You can shout from day until morning. No one will listen to you. Proof to that. Look, that seats of the UN. Until today, they never rotated. There never been any African country over there. The Africans are busy fighting over there, wanting for them to be put also inside, but yet there's not reactions, a proper reactions, which is coming out from there. And that left me with one question in mind. Why are they still even going to that United Nations Assembly? Because if it was up to me, I would have asked them to stay at home. That's one thing Africans we don't understand. That the moment we decide to to be united, it is the only way we can defeat these people. You've been putting a lot of complaint toward them. They are not taking you serious. They are not respecting you. They are not even doing whatsoever you've been asking them for. Why do you continue going there? Why do African leaders still going to the United Nations General Assembly? Why they can't just boycott it and stay home? They must not even send their representative over there. They might just say that, okay, in behalf of African Union, since we've been asking you guys, you don't listen to what we are saying, stay with your thing. Let us focus on African Union. What is it gonna cost them if they do this? Are them going to die? Are them going to be executed all just because they make a choice of which Africans are supporting? The day our leaders will do such a things, that is the day we will say that yes, the true freedom of Africans is now taking place. Now, this signs which Zimbabwe they manage to come with against the sanctions of the US, it is something that it had also motivated a lot of African countries which have to go through the same sanctions. If the USA with its allies decide to come and say that no, we are going to put sanctions on this country because they did that and this, well, these countries now, they are now looking around to see which other countries have the same sanctions as we do, and how did they manage? Did them just give up, or did they, do they just try to resist against these sanctions and find another better way to live their life out there? We have countries such as Burkina Faso. We have such countries such as Niger. You guys, you also what happened recently in Niger, whereby an election took place. People of Niger made their choice on someone else. The seated president is like, no, they did not vote for this person, they voted for me. The next thing, he wants to remain in power by force. What happened? We saw how people revolt themselves. They want to cause a scene around the country. And that's how we saw the military army who have to come and trench this problem by taking the power. Now, Since this military army took power, we also how France, under the Emmanuel Macron leadership, have the guards to frighten people of Niger, saying that if this military government did not give power back to the so-called elected president, while France will be left without no choice than to invade Niger. Imagine. So just because they are seated over there, and they could see that they are about to lose control of the Niger mineral resource, because they noticed that Niger is about to have a new leadership which is not controlled by them, or which was not chosen by them. Now they want to do things differently in order for them to come and bring instability in Niger. If it was not because of the determinations of this military government of Niger, I wonder what would have been in Niger. This military government of Niger, they have the courage to say no to France. They even went far, saying that if you ever try to invade us, we are going to look for our allies. And yes, indeed, they had already their allies who were ready already to face France. And we are talking about Burkina Faso with Ibrahim Traoré. We are talking about Mali with Mamadou, so on and so on. These countries, they were ready also to go in there and fight whoever was going to come there. But just because France, they have shown that their choices and they show their intentions in order for them to bring instability in Niger, you know what this military government did? They chased France out. They chased USA military base out. All of them out. Like always. They were like, okay, since these people, they want to play with us, let us show them. That is when you saw the video I played for you within the USA Senate meeting, where they are questioning the delegate, which the USA, they had sent in Niger in order for them to go and remove this so-called military government of Niger. Now that they fail, instead of them removing this military government, but this military government did not only chase this delegate of the US away, but they even chased the USA embassy and their military base, all of them outside of the country. So what was gonna US and France have to do in this case? Of course, they were left with only one weapon in their hands, which is sanctions. They had now to come and impose sanctions on this country. And as we are talking right now, Niger alone, they are having more than 125 sanctions. These sanctions, they are putting it in the way that it will bring a lot of instability. And guys, note here that when we're talking about sanctions bringing instability, what kind of instability are we talking about? When they put sanctions on you, sanctions comes with a lot of things. I give you an example in the case of Zimbabwe. It can bring crisis, whereby you no matter how popular you are in your country, people will turn against you because they want to be job, because they want to be electricity, because they want to be all those daily basic things that population needs. So you'll have to suffer for you to have it. And once people, they start complaining, then you must know that your days in the office as the leader of that country are numbered. They will bring a lot of instability, whereby even among politicians, they won't be speaking the same language. You'll be having one person betraying you to join a certain group of people. The next tomorrow, they will come against you and ask for a dialogue. And you know, one thing I know about politicians, they don't like to share power. Yes, politicians love to enjoy power, because I always compare the power of politicians. It's just like that beef soup. Once you taste it, you don't want to share it with anyone. You don't want to let it go. That's how politics works. So once politicians don't start coming to you and wanting to share power with you, it's going to be a very disappointing, it's going to be a very painful thing. And that's the purpose of these USA sanctions. Whenever they come with their sanctions, those are the things they are looking forward. So that once you lost control of your country, once you lost the trust of your people who had put you in that positions. Once politicians, they are no longer supporting you, they are now making noise, calling for dialogue and everything, voila. That is where now them will come in the middle center and say that, okay, we're here as a intermediaries to help you guys solve your political crisis. It is if like in their country, they don't have crisis. So that is how they've been working all this time with their sanctions. That is how they manage to destroy the economy of other nations out there through sanctions. So if Niger did not try to resist against them, it was going to be very hard. Now, they put these sanctions of Niger, hoping that it's going to work for them. But just because Niger, they've been going through a lot, regardless of how many tons of uraniums they have in their country, which the world needs today, their lives still look like they are not the one in possession of this uranium. So this military government, they sit down, they were like, okay, wait a second. Wow, what is the difference? Us having sanctions with our uraniums, I mean, like having our sanctions, they give us sanctions, but we're having our uraniums, or we are in possession, we are in control of our uraniums. And what is the difference? Us having our uraniums just for decorations, but it's being owned by someone, at the same time we don't have sanctions. So they could see that there is no difference. What they did? They end up choosing to accept these sanctions, but as long they are in the possession of their mineral resource. I can give example of Ibrahim Traoré with Burkina Faso. Ibrahim Traoré had the courage to tell the Western that since you guys, you have put sanction on us, we need the fighting weapons, we need the drones. We did not ask you guys to give us it for free. We give you the money. We want to buy this stuff. Yet you collect our money and you confiscate our the delivery of these fighting weapons, knowing very well that we are having terrorists who are busy fighting us. So in other words, they are confiscating all these things. They are kind of like supporting these terrorist groups in order for them to come and take over the country. Ibrahim Traoré is like, no, that's not fair. You can't be putting sanctions on us, walking free like that. So we're going to sanction you too in return. Now, you might ask a question, how can a small country such as Burkina Faso get to sanction the US in return? Well, they did it with only one simple tool. They went around their country, because Burkina Faso, we all know that one of their big mineral resources they have over there is gold. So they went around the country, they look like, okay, our gold, who produce them, who sell them, who does what, who does what. And the first things they look, all the Western country, one of the biggest country which was producing this gold was the British. They closed. They told them that, no guys, look, from now on, we're not gonna sell you again the license. You are not allowed to dig our gold here. Pack your bags, leave our country. Oh, you see, and you know those kind of people, they love to intimidate other people. You know, whenever you want to do something, they'll just come like trying to show that, hey, if you don't do this, we gotta do this. We gotta, you know, I give you the example of Yoweri Museveni. The bill being voted in the parliament by the chosen, by the delegate of the people of Uganda. They leave them alone, but they went and attacked Yoweri Museveni. If you ever try to sign this bill, we are going to do this, we are going to do that. Wow. That is how they love doing these things. That is how they enjoy doing it. And this time, they were trying to do it with Ibrahim Traoré from Burkina Faso. If you ever close this British gold company, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Ibrahim is like, okay, fine, go ahead and do it. You already start doing it. You put us under embargo. We can't buy guns. We can't be able to fight these people who are fighting us over here. So go and do it. Guys, I plead with you, if you're still watching this video until now, it's because you are finding what we're saying that it makes sense. Maybe you're finding something beneficial in this video. Please like this video. I will really do appreciate that, okay? You see that thumbs? Just click it. We'll really do appreciate that. Thanks to everyone who's doing so. And feel also free to subscribe. All right, back to what I was saying. So they're kind of like putting those kind of grimace against Ibrahim Traore. We're going to do this and that. They might like, no, I don't care. I don't care. They put sanctions on Burkina Faso. Did that make the Burkinabe die with anger? Did that make them like not live in this world? No, they're living. They put sanctions on Mali. Did Mali die? No. So these countries, they accept the US sanctions, yet they are in the control, full control, I mean, of their mineral resource. At least at the point, they can sell this mineral resource to the country of their choice. If they choose to go and sell it to Iran, in order for Iran to produce their nuclear bomb, that's none of their US business or European business. If they choose to go and sell it to China or Russia, that's none of their business. And it is this strategy that keep on destroying the USA sanctions. It is no longer having impact around the world. People, they are no longer feeling these sanctions anymore, like 50 years ago or 10 years ago. People, they have come to open their eyes that no, it does not work like this. People, they have come to realize that the USA, with its allies, they've been taking advantage of other nations because of these sanctions. No, you see, you don't respect human rights. No, you see, the election took place in your country, but you did not respect the whole process. You did this, you did that. So therefore, here's your sanctions. People are no longer considering these sanctions, give it or not. And to make even things worse for the US sanctions, wait next year when the BRICS currency comes out. You will see on how these sanctions going to like be useless. Because already, besides these countries that I just mentioned in Africa continent, we're having countries in America continent which resist these sanctions for many years. Cuba, for an example. Many years. Then they don't care anymore. They don't even feel it. Oh no, your diplomat, they can't travel to our country. Oh, what? Who cares? We're having countries such as Venezuela, where you see the USA having the guts to say that no, Venezuela, they did not organize a proper elections. It's all about you did not organize elections, you did not do that, you violate this and that. As I said, it is if like in their countries, that so-called democracy does really exist over there. Because if it does exist, I don't think Vladimir Putin, in his recent interview or message that was addressing a forum, you will have not come up with such kind of a secret, which took place through a conversation between him and the former president of France, Jacques Chirac. Putin said, I quote, Jacques Chirac said to me, do you think this USA, these Americans, they have democracy? These people, they don't have democracy. They don't even know what is democracy. They just pretend to act like they are the king and queen of democracy, but they are nothing compared to democracy. Those are the words of Jacques Chirac to Vladimir Putin. He went on explaining to Vladimir Putin, saying that to show you that these people, they don't have democracy in their country, look each and every American president who comes in power. Behind him, there's billions of money. Behind this billion of money, we are seeing partners, rich people, men and women, Americans, who have one thing to benefit It's just like you are trading, or maybe you are betting. Akiri, you will have to put your money, isn't it? You invest and you are hoping to get your money with some benefit. So these billionaires, they are the one who usually go to American politicians, choose a certain candidate. Of course, they have to sit first together. Like you are a billionaire, me, I'm a billionaire, our brother there or our sister there, they are also billionaire. We sat together, then we said that no, this time let's go for this one and finance him. Now, when they are going to choose you, you are no one. Maybe you are just a simple senate. They are going, they come, they'll choose you. They say that, okay, no, we want to make you a president. So these American foreign policies or inside policy, whatever it is not Donald Trump or Joe Biden or George Bush who usually come with those kind of ideas. No. They are receiving orders from somewhere in order for them to just apply it, because there is a people who invest a lot of money. So they need to come up with a certain kind of policies which they know that it's going to benefit them, which they know very well that it's going to give them even more money. And that's what these American politicians, they've been doing all these years. Okay? So they will do all these things, and they can tell like, no, we want this country to give us this kind of minerals. And if this country refuses to comply with them, that's when now they will come with sanctions. Sanctions to make things tougher for these countries in order for them to let it go and accept or obey to all the command that comes from the US. And once you accept to obey to their command, well, straight away, they will be the one in control of your mineral resources. They will tell you where to sell this mineral resource and at what price. There's a video that we've been preparing for you because it needs a lot of research, where we are going to discuss about African minerals, how the Western, they've been exploiting African minerals. And our leaders, they were there with their eyes open, wide open. They could not be able to say even a word. Our leaders, they were there, attending different forums, debating, dialoguing, saying everything about the price and everything, how these minerals, they have to be exports, how everything, they were there. But at the end of the day, Africa, we're still poor. At the end of the day, Africans, we don't have jobs, we don't have electricity, we don't have water. Guys, if you stay tuned to this channel, I promise you, you'll really enjoy that video, because we are really busy working on it and putting a lot of effort so that we can expose the Western and our African, some, not all of them of course, but some of our African leaders who've been at the service of the Westerns, and some of the mistakes of our African leaders they have committed before. So stay tuned, and if you have not watched that video, if you have not subscribed, you just have to subscribe now, so that when we come with that video, you'll be able to also hear what we have to say through that video. So you see that that is the strategy the Western have been doing all this time. And thanks to countries like the one I mentioned in Africa, thanks to Russia, which is having about 500 sanctions. 500 sanctions. These sanctions, for them, when they put it, they were like, yes, we got Russia where it hurt the most. They won't survive for too long. They'll surround, and the Ukraine will be the winner. When they put these sanctions, they were so excited. They were so determined that everything goes according to their plans. Don't forget that one of these sanctions, one of these 500 sanctions on Russia, it had to do with their assets. They held all the Russian assets, which was value of more than 430 something billion pounds, not even US dollar, pounds. They hold it. They thought it was going to be over for Russia. They thought that the economy of Russia would be killed, it would be down. Today, that same 400 something billions of assets that they had seized from Russia. They are fighting over it. Because instead of Russia going down, or instead of the economy of Russia dropping, actually it keep on increasing. You guys, you heard Vladimir Putin saying that Russia is doing even more good than when it was in these all world organizations, or when it was surviving without sanctions. Now today, that's 400 something billions of money they had seized from Russia. They are fighting over it. Zelensky, who wants to continue enriching his family, asking for this money. And the administration of Joe Biden, they were like, no, since we've been giving you guys a lot of money, this time we think that it's going to be a good idea for you to just take whatever we are having here, which is Russian money. So they will have to give it to them. But now they are not even able to give it all in full. They are now giving them small. At the same time, US is benefiting from it, because remember we always say that the more conflict reigns, the more money they make. Because they will give you, for an example, they give Ukraine with their president 60 billion. That 60 billion, we're talking about more than 75%, which remain within the US border. Because they're the one who have to supply you the gun. Isn't it? I said they're the one who will tell you where to buy things and at what price. That is if they're the one who are in control. And if you are the one who's selling your mineral resource, they're the one who have to come and impose a certain kind of price on your mineral resource. They will tell you where you have to go and sell it and to who. That's why you see countries such as Niger, they are being accused out there for selling uranium to Iran. Why? Because they are afraid that no, if Iran put their hands on these uraniums from Niger, tomorrow they'll become a nuclear power. And once they become a nuclear power, the USA, they won't have that influence in the Middle East anymore. That is the normal map that is happening right there. But in the case of Russia, they managed to survive without all these people. They managed to make it out on their own without being told how to do things by the USA. These 500 sanctions which they managed to put on them so far, it does not work anymore. Uncle Joe Biden, he came up with his last sanctions to impose on Russia. It is still not working. For an example, when he said that any country that will try to supply Russia with weapons, this country will also have to face the same sanctions. Well, most of the countries actually, some countries try, of course, like North Korea, which recently they not only supply Russia with admissions, but they even sent their troops over there. More than 20,000 troops went in Russia in the front line. But for political reasons, they can't say it more clearly. According to Russian report, they say that no, this North Korea militaries, they are over there for military training. Military training in the country which is under conflict. Well, let's leave that for another day. But on the other side, they are accusing Iran, saying that Iran, they're the ones who've been supplying Russia with drone, because as we all know that Iran, they are one of number one in the world drone producer. They are very good, those boys. Yeah, they are very good. I'm telling you, they have a serious drone, like, so the world is looking up to them. So they were like, no, Iran is supplying Russian. That here's another sanctions. So they've been putting all these sanctions, hoping that it's gonna reduce the power of Russia. But look how Russia they are doing economically. They are doing good. We don't see protests in Russia, which can come and say that, no, Putin, now things are becoming, our life are becoming tougher because of you. You need to leave the office. No one is protesting there. Actually, Russians, they seem to be united, all of them behind Vladimir Putin, because they understand that they are all having one common enemy, which is the Western, who want to destroy their sovereignty. So all these sanctions Joe Biden have put, look at him lately. Have you heard again Joe Biden announcing any sanctions on Russia? No. Why? Because it is clear that whatsoever they've put like sanctions, it does not work. Look all the political analysis, look their social medias. They end up understanding that sanctions does not work for Russia anymore. And mark my word when I say that. If sanction does not work for Russia anymore, can you imagine how many countries around the world that this sanctions does not have impact anymore? The US sanction don't work. Now, the question is, what happened when the US sanction don't work anymore? That is the capital questions we ask. Because, can you imagine this world, or can you imagine the US without them having sanctions on other countries? Can you imagine USA living without having sanctions on other countries? That will make them lose their leadership around the world. No one will listen to them. No one will have to do what they'll be telling them. Can you picture this world without the USA dollar, without the US MasterCard, without the US Google? Do you have an idea? So these people, they know very well that that is the only things that keep them. But unfortunately for them, they end up making a couple of mistakes which discourage many people out there to the point that everyone, they feel like, no, enough, it is enough. So it's about time we do things differently. And these other nations, they are coming forward and they're like, okay, us, we're going to come in a friendly way, in a very respectful way. But if you have to come and look at us and say that, no, me, I'm the big brother, I'm the United States of America, you have to do things according to my own ways, then go ahead and put your sanctions. We don't care anymore. That is what people are doing right now. That's what the world leaders, they have understand. And to make even things more worse for them, it is when BRICS, during their BRICS summit, which took place recently in Russia, under the leadership of Vladimir Putin, they confirm everything. They said very well, in order for you to get away, or in order for BRICS nation to get away with the US and European sanctions, we need to start trading among ourselves. We need to have our own currency. Why BRICS keep on insisting on having new currency? Because they are all aware that the entire world, many countries, they have seen their future in BRICS. They are waiting for BRICS to come forward and show the way, and all these countries will go there. Let me give you a very easy example. When I saw the president of Venezuela, Nicolas, I forgot the name, President Nicolas, because he was also one of the members that Vladimir Putin invited over in behalf of Venezuela. You know, when they give him a chance to speak, you know what he said? He said, I'm here just because it is BRICS. As for other platforms, whether it is a G7, G20, name them as you wish, these nations, they never go and attend this summit because they are being considered as a people who are under sanctions and they don't have nothing to do with them. But for BRICS, all nations, they jumped in. Look, countries around the world, all of them, they are coming forward because they believe that the future, it is in the BRICS. In one of our videos, we demonstrated to you or explained to you the difference between BRICS and these other world organizations. And we told you that BRICS is a platform where there's a true democracy. Whether you are a small country such as Lesotho or Swatini, or maybe name the country that you feel like is too small. Before Russia or before China, you are all the same. They will give you the platform, you get to express your feelings, your thought as well, as much all these countries they do. Which is different with these other nations or these other world platforms. Take NATO for an example, a platform of dictators. Take G7, a platform of dictators, full of them there, shining like this. They're so choosy, full of racists at the same time. So that is the reason why you see most of these countries are coming forward to join BRICS. And they know that under BRICS wings, it's going to protect them to resist the USA sanctions. Now you understand. Now you have an answer why we said US sanctions, it does not have impact in the world anymore. Because each and every country, they are aware of these sanctions. If I don't do this, once the USA come in, they'll give me this kind of sanctions. Yes, and when they do this kind of sanctions, they're expecting me to go through this. They're expecting me to have a political crisis. They're expecting people to protest against me so that they can remove me in power. They're expecting me to lose the value of my currency. They're expecting this. There's people, they are well aware of all these strategies that the USA have been putting in place. And that is the reason why they're like, okay, we are ready. As long I'll be able in charge of my mineral resource. As long I'll be able to say 1, 2, 3, 4. You understand how this world of politics works. So that was very important that we get to show you everything according to our own understanding, according to the research that we made for you, according to what is happening right now, especially in the US foreign policy. Because everything, it had its beginning and the end at the same time. And what is it that does not last? So it's about that time, especially Africa countries should start at least seeing things in a different way now. To see now that, okay, now that we are aware on how to deal with the USA sanctions, what can we do in order for us to also have that true freedom as Africans, wherever we find ourselves around the world? How can we do, what can we do in order for us to raise up or increase the economy of Africa? Because sometimes for me, it does not make sense when we look around and see that, no, actually we are in possession of everything that the world needs today, but yet we are the last one when it comes to development. And to show you how these people are very clever, I believe those who are under constructions field, they'll correct me if I'm wrong on this one. These people, when they were busy colonizing Africa, stealing African minerals, doing everything, when it was time for them to develop Africa, they were not doing so. They were busy stealing African minerals and took it to their countries, went there and developed their countries, building roads, ways, building nice buildings. Look, people such as Donald Trump, they will tell you that no, they are having a tower which is more than 80 buildings inside. Some they are even 120. Now it's about time for Africans to start developing their countries. Now that it's about time Africans to start building their countries. You know what they came with? In order for them to make Africans become only as a beggars, you know what they did? They came with this so-called climate change. Climate change. I don't know if I'm even pronouncing it properly. Oh, what is it? Oh no, this climate change, it does not need us to do this. From now on, no one can build a building more than this level. Look around your town where you are finding yourself right now. When last did you see someone building a house or a building more than 10 levels? If you build too much, it's 10, you stop. No 15, no 25, nothing. Only when it's the time for Africans, they stop. Why? No, because if you build the building of 50 levels, it's going to happen like this. The climate change is going to affect the nature. It's going to do this and that. They give a lot of reasons. Hence, I like the speech of President Cyril Ramaphosa in France when they were having France-Africa summit concerning the climate change. President Ramaphosa will have to grill President Emmanuel Macron there in his country, reminding him that no, you can't come here and tell us like you are imposing us. We're not the one who bring these climate change things. We're not the one who caused all this scandal. These are the things you guys, Europeans and the Westerns, you are the base of all these bad things. You are the one who invaded. You are the one who are having different chemicals, manufactures. You produce crazy things. You produce nuclear bombs. The smoke goes in the skies. It creates something there, and the next things, the rain will start raining, and people start now dying, like in Durban, different places, fish in the water dying, all those kind of things. Africans, they have not developed anything. So you can't come and put the climate change sin if like it was invaded by Africans. No. Africans have not developed. Now, when African countries, they want to start developing, that's when these conditions are coming. When you want to build a house, the moment you want to go and buy that license, they are telling you, you can't build the house like this, you can't build this building like this, like that, like that. Look, even these new flats that they are building all over South Africa. I'm giving the example of South Africa because I'm in South Africa. Look, the new buildings, the new flats. They are too small like this. You can't even breathe. You enter in a bedroom, once you put a bed there of double bed, the space is finished. You can't even put the extra length, king extra length. Why? Because it is a new law that now Africans, they're about to start developing their countries. So therefore, you need to make their life become more easy. They must not build the same as us. They must not do 1, 2, 3 things. And us as Africans, you're just expecting us to sit here and keep quiet about it. No. We'll denounce all these kind of behaviors. We'll speak the truth and let everyone know about what is happening. So, guys, I believe that is all. It was very important we have this conversation. And it was very important that we get to explain to you on how the US sanctions is being defeated by many countries around the world, and what kind of a strategy this country they've been showing so far in order for them to take down all these USA sanctions. So we shall wait and see what will happen in the near future, how things are going to look for the USA politics if they don't change their strategy of these sanctions. Thank you so much for your time. Please do us a favor before you leave. Comment in the comment section. Tell us also. Give us your point of view on what we just discussed here. Correct us where you believe that we say wrong. And if you have more information, so you feel like you can share it with us, feel free to email us through our email address, which is coolbuzznews@gmail.com. So guys, also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We really do appreciate that. But above all, don't leave without you giving us your thumbs up. You know, when we're making this kind of denunciations, there are many people out there who don't like this kind of message to be spread out there, because for them, they will believe that we are making a bad propaganda against them. They're not going to believe that is a freedom of speech. But just because maybe we are saying something against them, they will feel like, no, we're against them. So the only way you can keep us here is by liking this video in your numbers, so that whenever these people come and try to report us to this platform, at least they'll see that no, actually there are many people who enjoy what we are saying. So we are begging you, please do like this video, give us your thumbs up. We'll really do appreciate that. So this is a Pan-African platforms that we have put in place in order for us to be having conversations concerning what's happening in Africa continent and in diaspora. If you want to be part of this big family where we get to discuss different matters around Africa continent and in the world, you just have to subscribe to the channel so that whenever we're here live, you'll be able to join this big family called Cool Buzz TV. Well, with that being said, that will be all for now. Continue to be yourself, be good, be kind, have respect for everyone in order for you to be respected. May God bless you all. I'll see you again very soon in our next video. Ciao, ciao.